everybody, welcome to the ZLINE Kitchen. My name's Chef Mark Estee, and I'm here to continue our Let's Talk Turkey, if you will, okay? So what we're gonna do today is the most important part of Thanksgiving dinner or any holiday dinner or any time you make a turkey. You need to really understand what the best way to cook this bad boy is and all the fun parts about making the gravy, okay? So we've covered sides. We have plenty of sides. We have mashed potatoes. We have sweet potatoes. We have stuffing. We have braised cabbage with some sauteed cabbage greens, okay? What we're gonna cover today will be making the turkey and the gravy and the cranberry sauce. And we'll bring that all together for a delicious meal. So I figure the best way to start off with the turkey is to talk about what we're gonna put on the turkey, okay? So I'm gonna make a rub for us, right? I like to start our rubs off here. This is gonna be some kosher salt, all right? Some kosher salt. I have some black pepper. I have some sage. This is dry sage. This is dry rosemary, all right? So you can use fresh. I like the dry spices. They don't burn, and the flavor is a little more consistent, okay? And they stick to the turkey a little bit better. I have some garlic powder, okay? Granulated garlic, excuse me. I have some granulated onion, okay? And that's gonna be my basic turkey rub. So two things I'm gonna do. This is gonna be a turkey rub, and it's also gonna be, when I add some butter to it, the turkey baste. And then the third part will be, it's gonna be the base for our gravy, okay? So here we go. We're gonna do this in a few parts. So here's the turkey rub. Next up, we're gonna take out the turkey. And I just left it in here to show you how I do it, okay? So this is a turkey that I've thawed. This came in frozen. I thawed it. It's about 26 pounds. I thawed it at room temperature. It took about, I thawed it in the refrigerator. It took about 2.5, 3 days to get there. I put it in and out a few different times to make sure when I was watching it, just to make sure it's nice and defrosted, okay? So turkey's defrosted. I'm gonna turn it over. There's gonna be a little bit of juice in here for sure, okay? Let's cut that open. And I'm just gonna use this here, kind of catch it. So I cut it, but I hold the bag down below, just making sure I don't get everywhere. Now I'd put it in a sink if I was at home, but this is a little bit easier for you all to see here at home, okay? So take the bag out here, all right? Most turkeys all look the same when they come in like this. I guess this is a nice heavy one. I'm gonna pick this up, all right? I'm gonna take this out of here, and we'll just let her sit, all right? So into the trash. Inside here, you're gonna find a few things. And we need all these things that we find inside this turkey, okay? So this one has a little plastic, keeps the legs together. I remove that. Inside we're gonna find here, turkey neck, all right? We're gonna use that for stock. Find the turkey tail back here, okay? We're gonna use that for the stock to make the gravy. And usually these days they have this little plastic spreader, spreads the inside if you wanna do it. If you're thinking about doing any kind of stuffing in there, I always remove this little plastic piece. Sometimes it's metal, okay? I look at my legs, I'm feeling this turkey, making sure we're nice and defrosted. Don't get too afraid here, or don't forget, up inside the neck is the jib bag, right? So here's the jibs, all right? And so I feel them up here, come out. Inside this little bad boy right here, we're gonna find the gizzards, if you will. Okay, I have the turkey heart. Okay, so turkey heart coming out of this little bag right here. Turkey kidney and the turkey liver. Boom. We're gonna save all that because we'll use that inside. We'll use that in our gravy, okay? So turkey's looking good right here. I'm gonna move this to the side. I brought some towels with me because really one of the things you wanna do is you wanna dry this turkey. Now, if we had the time, I would do this maybe really early in the morning, okay? So a bird like this, how long is this gonna take to cook? You would think to yourself, and we'll put this up so everyone can see it, and there's a lot of information out there for everybody, but you would think to yourself, a turkey goes about 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes per pound, depending on the size, right? And depending on the oven and your oven space. So for us here, we have our ZLINE convection oven. We're gonna use the convection, so that actually cuts down the time by 10 to 15%. So for this turkey at 26 pounds, I'm gonna factor in 26 pounds, 10 minutes per pound at about 350 degrees, okay? And I'm looking for an internal temperature of 160 degrees, okay? That's really the things that we want to look for. So sometimes if you open it and close the oven all the time, it's going to take a little bit longer. If you let it sit, if you baste it just the right amount of time, it will take a little bit shorter. So even though it just gives you the 10 minutes per pound, if you're using convection, it gives you a good base to make sure you check back in on it, right? So what am I doing now? I'm drying the turkey because I want to do a nice rub on it, and we want the rub to kind of stick, and I don't want it to kind of slough off. So I turn it around, the legs here, okay? I'm just really taking my time. I'm working it around. This is, I'm going to just kind of get rid of this little juice right here. I'm going to use this roasting pan for the turkey itself, okay? And again, if you buy your sink, is a little bit better. If not, just make sure you kind of clean that mess up. All right. So for me, turkey goes up. Where's my rub? Right here. I start to kind of rub the turkey, right? Put it in my hands, rub the turkey. I don't put oil on here. The skin has fat in it. It's going to release some fat and some juices. That's going to help this rub stick on. I take my legs here, okay? Turn it over and start to rub the outside. Okay, sprinkle a little bit on top. You can put it in your hands, whatever's easiest for you. Rub this on here. This is the first part of the rub. We will baste it later also. So using the same seasoning, we'll be basting the turkey a little bit later also. I like to go on the inside. I'm not a fan of stuffing my turkey. For me, it takes up a little too long. I do my stuffing on the side. Sometimes I've stuffed them with onions. I find that if you leave the turkey alone, I really want to get the turkey flavor out. That's why I just do minimum seasoning on there, and we'll really let the basting take its part. So I use the wings here up front, okay? Kind of flip these over. And then these are going to make a little set for me. Okay, that's going to give me a little pup here. You could tie these legs, I just kind of tuck them. I like the breast to be exposed. My legs are like this. Kind of flip it over, okay? I have my oven heated to 350 degrees, preheated to 350 degrees. Now here's a little something different. I like to start my turkey off upside down, okay? I'm going to start our turkey upside down. The first hour of cooking, we're going to put in the oven upside down. This allows this breast to be kind of protected from that. We get a nice crisp start on the bottom, and we're going to start the turkey upside down to really protect the breast until we bring it back over, because you think about it, all the air is hitting the outside of the turkey, right? So the dark meat takes a lot longer. So I have my legs being cooked, I have my wings being cooked, and I'm protecting the breast to start off, okay? I don't put it on a rack because when I flip it back over, I want really all those juices kind of stay in the pan to be kind of on the bottom of the turkey. So first hour, so 260 minutes. The first 60 minutes are going to be with the turkey upside down, okay? All right, so I'm going to go into the oven. And she goes in. Next up, okay, I wash my hands. Next up, we want to get our basting ready, okay? Now, basting is definitely, has a lot of people. Some people believe that basting is the most important type. Some people believe that basting is not important at all. I'm a fan of basting, but I don't baste right out the gate. So I want the turkey to kind of get its first initial cooking happening with no baste on it right now. So I'm getting that skin to start to crisp up before we start to really work on the basting part of the turkey, okay? All right. Clean that off. I go back to my little seasonings here. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. I'm going to kind of add a little bit more. And they're equal parts. We went sage, rosemary, granulated onion, granulated garlic, salt, and pepper. Okay? Next up here, I'm bringing that back to life, okay? So, I have next over here, I have some melted butter, okay? My melted butter, right in. This is going to make our baste. It's almost like a nice little paste here. Butter, salt, our spices, and our baste is ready to go. Okay, so that part there we're set with, okay? How do we want to do this basting? You can do a few different ways. I'm going to show you a cute way that I think is pretty cool. All right, it's going to be, we use a little twine here, okay? I have some rosemary and some thyme. And this is going to be my brush. I'm going to make a little herb brush, if you will, okay? So take the herbs, wrap it around, okay? And this will be what I use to brush the baste onto the turkey. So just some butcher twine. Okay, set this up here. Here's our twine. We're going to use this to baste the turkey when it comes time, okay? So let's move on. This part here, done. So you can see how this works. Little spices, my butter, and we'll use this to baste the turkey when it comes time, okay? So basting time. Next up, let's talk about what are we going to do with these little, right, our little pieces here. Our innards, okay, our gizzards, if you will, our neck and our turkey tail. We're going to make turkey stock. What else are we going to do, right? So always during this time, I've had in the back going for us a stock, okay? And the stock has a turkey leg, right? We have a turkey leg. We have our mirepoix, so we have herbs and celery and carrots, okay? Onions, salt and pepper. And this stock here, we use this stock to make the stuffing. We use this stock to also make the gravy. Okay, so let's start to talk about the gravy right now. All right, so bones are into the stock. Stock is roasting on the back. I'll tell you what, during the holiday time, I always have a big pot of stock going, and I'm continuing adding on mirepoix. I'm adding any vegetable scraps to that stock to keep it going really well. Okay, so what we want to start with now is how can we make this into a delicious gravy? So I start here, pretty straight up. I'm going to make a roux. Okay, so 1 part butter, 1 part flour. Okay. And this will be the base. This is going to be the base for our gravy. Okay, so over here. What we'll do with the gravy here, and I think you have a little camera above us. I'm going to melt the butter and the flour, but I'm going to toast it a little bit. That's going to help me get a little color in there. Okay, so I'm going to turn that down. I don't want to get too toasty. I'm not trying to burn it. I just want to give it a little bit of color. We call that a little bit of nut color, a little bit of brown color on there. Really helps us kind of add some depth and color to our gravy. All right, so for the gravy ingredients, we have the roux going right here, right? So we have the butter and the flour. I have my turkey stock on this side over here, which we always are going to have good turkey stock rolling around. Let's say you don't want to do turkey, go ahead and do chicken. It's fine, you could buy some, but I'm really telling you, throughout the holidays, having a stock rolling on the back really makes life easy for you, okay? So, just for the sake of showing you something a little bit different, what I brought up here already was, these are pan drippings from a turkey that I roasted earlier, okay? So these pan drippings are basically going to be really simple. They are the culmination of the turkey juice, right? Our herbs that we put together here, and the butter, and this is the base after it's been cooked. This here is turkey gold. Okay, I know sometimes I know people at home who save this. They'll save it from Thanksgiving, they'll use it at Christmas, they'll make one at Christmas, they'll use it again for Easter, right? You just constantly save this kind of, this little basting. That can go sit in the freezer for a long time. This here is, 4 hours of roasted, caramelized juices that taste really good. It's got a nice little saltiness to it, and we're gonna use that in our gravy. But before we get going there I wanna show you what this roux looks like, okay? So this is what I like to call this helps you get that non-lumpy gravy. I remember so many times at home with my parents cooking and making turkey dinner and things going on like this, like at the end trying to put a little bit of like flour and turkey stock or cream or milk into a pan and move it all around, and just like it was kind of not that good. So I really like to get a little bit, I'll call like a turkey starter or a turkey jump. And by doing that, we're going to be able to start off with our roux, right? So the roux gives us, starting to get a nice toasty brown color on there. The roux gives us a way to make sure we have foolproof, delicious gravy. There's nothing worse than having turkey and then not having enough gravy. Or the best part is you need gravy for the next day. And this is the way to make sure you have it, because you're going to give yourself a good kind of a head start, if you will, okay? So next up, roux is kind of toasty over here. I'm going to add some of my stock, okay? So turkey stock's going in. Right, so butter, flour, stock, really simple basic parts getting ready to make a typical gravy, okay? I bring that together, okay? Now the turkey stock has great flavor already. It's seasoned really well, so I don't have to worry too much about seasoning this thing. I also want to be really careful because those pan drippings, they have a tendency to be really salty, okay? So pan drippings can be really salty. So you can see this color back here, right? It's not as brown maybe as we wanted or we're used to seeing. That's because all this heaven is going in there next. This gravy is going to be next level when you start to put these pan drippings in here, okay? This pan drippings, just for the sake of television or just the sake of teaching, come from your turkey that you're cooking right now. So again, I jumped ahead of you and I said, here's your pan drippings. Here's your roux base, if you will, excuse me, here's your gravy base, okay? And by adding these in now, so let's say this is after the turkey's cooked all the way through. It's been 4 hours. You have this beautiful turkey, which we'll show you how to do. I have my base for my gravy. Now the magic happens, okay? If you watch up here on the TV, this is just your kind of typical flavor of the gravy going on, okay? Watch, I'm going to show you this color starts to change. Now there's ways to do this without using it like this. They sell turkey brown gravy. They sell packets. This is the all-natural way to do it, okay? Oh yeah. You see that color turning right there? And that's all the natural juices, the caramelization, the 4 hours in the oven. Okay? Let's go here. And that to me is a great gravy. I'm going to do a little taste here in about 1 minute. Make sure I have enough in here. Now I can always add a little more if I need to. Let's go back and taste. All right. Oh my God. It just tastes like, this gravy tastes like something that's been cooking for about 10 hours already, right? So the key is you start that gravy base, okay? Roux, turkey stock, let that simmer for about at least 30 minutes, maybe even longer. Then once that turkey comes out, you add in those pan drippings. And that's the way to get the most authentic, delicious turkey base. Okay, so that is a gravy. And then we're working on our turkey right now. Okay, so I want to show you the kind of details on how to baste the turkey. I'm going to bring this up to the top here, okay? So you can see it. So we have our herb spice in here. We've already talked about our herbs and salt and pepper. I have my butter. I like to add sometimes a little bit of stock here. I'm going to add a little stock to my base to keep that kind of moisture going, okay? So on here, butter, stock, the spices, and our little herb mop. Let's take that turkey out. Let's say it's been cooking in the oven for about an hour, okay? So we're almost a quarter of the way through where we're going with this. And I take this, I'm just gonna kind of use this to paint it on, okay? So now I would paint this turkey on here. You could just use a typical kitchen, spoon to do this. You could use a kitchen food brush, right? You could use, I've seen people use like mops, so they call it like a barbecue rag. I like these little herbs, it's kind of cute, makes it work really well. So I paint the bottom side. Now I'm gonna flip the bird back over, okay? And now after an hour, I have a little bit of crust going on here, and my breast is starting to get ready for some action, okay? So I let the turkey sit inside, and I bring my turkey brush back over, and I start to brush that, paint it on, okay? If I think about it, wherever I paint this butter stock mixture, I'm gonna have really nice even browning, okay? So one, our ZLINE is gonna give us great browning with our convection and our constant heat, but this mop is gonna make sure the flavor's in, it seals in all the juices, we really get ready to go. So as I go back into the oven for another 3 hours, okay? What I don't want to do is I don't want to continue to disturb, I don't want to continue to disturb the convection or the oven every 5 minutes. So I would set a timer and say, every half hour, I'm going to come and baste. And when I baste, I'm going to bring the basting to the oven, okay? And one of the features that we have here at ZLINE, which is great, is pulling out the turkey or pulling out the bottom rack that you can come here. I'm going to rebaste here. I'm going to especially hit the parts that need the browning as I go through, okay? This is a big turkey. This turkey will probably feed about 20 people, 20 to 22 people. So it fits right here in the oven great. It's going to take us a good 4 hours. I'm using my basting tool. I'm going to baste this every half hour until she's done. And again, that basting part, you can't really cook a turkey too quick. And I want to show you how to really cook it well if you take your time, okay? So by flipping that first hour over, giving the breast a chance to kind of get, to take a little bit of a rest. And then now we start to kind of really start to brown that. We want the turkey to cook evenly, and we want it to cook all the way through. So that's with the help of the ZLINE oven with the convection feature or not. Now without convection, I would cook it for probably almost 5 hours, okay? But you can get away with 4 with the convection oven, and you just gotta plan it, right? You don't wanna have the turkey, you don't wanna start your turkey too late, you don't wanna start it too early. You wanna get a couple hours of resting in it, let it sit, let it kind of get really come to room temperature, if you will. So it starts off really hot, comes down to room temperature. Then when you carve it, it's gonna be absolutely beautiful. Okay, next up will be the carving. All right, folks, here's the time in the ZLINE kitchen. Let's take a look, right? We've been working our butts off on this turkey all day. Let's see what we got here, okay? So we have a bird here that has been basted, that has been loved, that has been cooked to an internal temperature on the legs here. We go to 160 degrees, okay? So over the last 2, 3, almost to 4 hours, I got this bird up to 160 degrees, okay? Now this is ready for TV. This cooked, I let it rest, and I'm ready to carve this bird, okay? So what we have here is, how are we gonna carve it? Really, that comes down to the most important part. I've cooked the turkey, you can see the basting on here. I got a nice crust on here. I've taken all my juices out. I've made my gravy. I have my mashed potatoes. I have my cranberry sauce. I have my maple mustard that goes with the sweet potatoes. We have stuffing. We have braised cabbage. We have our roasted root vegetables. And we have our beet tops here on there, so some of our sauteed greens. And the only thing I'm missing right here is the turkey. So let's talk about that. I took my time roasting that turkey, right? We flipped it over the breast, right? The first hour on the breast side down, the other almost 3 hours in this kind of situation, legs up. I like them to kind of open up a little bit. I have nice even browning all throughout, okay? I used my thermometer as we went along. Right as we got to the 3 hour point, I started taking the temperature in the leg. Once that leg gets nice and, once that leg gets 160 degrees, I took it out. I let it rest for a good 2 hours, right? If you only let it rest for an hour, that's fine. One of the things you'll find is the longer you let it rest, the more the temperature evens out and all the juices stay in. Now, notice a few things. I did not brine this turkey. Brining a turkey is a great idea. I find when you're cooking at home and you have a big beast like this, I don't like the brine because it's really hard to put it in a brine at home. Or a 26 pounder, they're already kind of large, they're already kind of juicy. And really, if we took our time, we roasted it right, we won't need the brine. The key to me is the skin and the outside. The browning is beautiful. If I was at home and I was getting a little bit too much color on the breast and my leg was still at 140, you can put foil on top of this, okay? You can put foil on top of the breast and let the rest kind of cook itself, and then until that inside gets to 160. I gotta tell you, no one ever said the turkey should be done. This needs to cook all the way through. It needs to rest all the way through because you really want the meat to be really tender, okay? You don't want to cook the heck out of it and end up with the dry breast meat, but the legs need to be cooked, okay? I'm a big fan of the dark meat, and I'm gonna kind of take you through how to carve this at home. So I'm gonna take my knife, okay? Sharpen it up. Now, I have a cutting board here. At home, for me, I do this in the back. But if you wanted to kind of carve it out for everybody in front of everybody, right? We separate the drumstick here. And again, when that cooks up really nice, you're not gonna have any trouble pulling this off. It doesn't disintegrate in my hand, but the drumstick comes off. And you know, I know that some people like to serve the whole drumstick. For me, no one really gets to have just all that deliciousness. But we'll put it on here just so you can see the look. And I took off a few nice pieces right here, so I'm able to share the drumstick with everybody else. Okay? Next up is going to be the thigh. All right? So that back part of the leg, that kind of cooks off just here. That skin, in my opinion, is delicious. I know some people in my family fight over the skin, so I cut it into a few pieces and I'll lay it on here. Okay? So this dark meat now, I'm still on my cutting board. Here's the thigh. I'll cut this. Okay? This doesn't necessarily carve into nice slices, but I cut that dark meat on top of the skin so people can see it. And it's nice to have let everyone have a little bit of both, right? So you see that just peels right off? There's my dark meat and my turkey's right here. Now, the wing, not many people dig that part, but if you like, you know, for me, we'll take this off here. This makes for great turkey soup. We want to save all the bones. All the bones get saved for turkey soup. I'm going to put this on this side right here. We don't need that right now. And I'm going to get into how to carve the breast, all right? I'm going to flip over to this side just so you can see it a little bit better on the camera. Okay, so here's my breast. Under here, you see how we tuck that in. Gives us a nice color here. I'm going to find the keel bone, which is the middle part of the turkey. Okay, I'm going to come down the keel bone. All right, that separates the back spine here. And just to kind of move this side here, I like to use my finger off at home carving fork. Okay, and I'm going to start to slice this right here. And place it over here. I'm slicing this right on the carcass. Okay. And off pops the breast meat. All right. Now you could also do carving on the bone like this. You could also remove. Right. You can see that light meat right there. You could also take this down through here. Okay. You can see when it's cooked really well. Again, this one kind of got to come to room temperature, which was really nice. I had known people kind of take this off. Okay. And then from here, you can carve the breast. And again, that skin staying on, show it off, okay? Show off all that nice basting that you did. All right, there's no chance that this thing is medium rare. It's cooked absolutely perfect, right? You can see that nice color on there. That right here, you work your way through that. I'm not sure about you and your family, but for us, we'll come through, we'll pick at it, we'll flip it over, right? You all know about the good parts, right? We take this here, everything gets saved because we make turkey soup the next day, turkey noodle soup, turn it into turkey enchiladas, turkey chili, anything you want. Nothing gets wasted. So I'll clean all this meat off, put it on the platter for everybody else, save the bone. When I flip this carcass over, little chef tips here, you'll start to see we cook this really well. On the back side, you have those oysters, right? This little piece right here, that pops out. That is the most delicious dark meat you're ever going to find. And these things pop out right here, okay? Right there, there's your oyster. It is absolutely delicious. So here's the whole entire turkey, right? You're breaking it down. That's a good size 26-pound turkey. Now I have it here. This is really a ZLINE style family spread, right? Our turkey, all our fixings on the side, and really to enjoy this with your loved ones or friends or neighbors, especially during this time of year. We wish you all the most happiest of Thanksgivings. We wish you all the happiest of the holiday season. Thanks for joining us in the ZLINE kitchen. We look forward to seeing you.